Evening, folks. Welcome along to your Friday night Rangers Rabble. And I've been drafted in tonight, I'm afraid, folks, so you have to put up with me because Mr. Thompson decided not to do it yet. He's in the comments. I see you, Ian. Don't worry, I noticed that. But along with me, I haven't been on with these guys for ages, is Kenny and Alex. Alex, how are we?
I'm good, mate. It feels like I've been not been on the show in absolute donkeys, mate. So good to get back on, talk all things Rangers. And we're obviously the two guys that we have a good laughing when we were on, yourself and Kenny.
Absolutely. Kenny, how are we?
Aye, brilliant, Brian. My usual stupid self, so this has got to be a good laugh. You're not meant to laugh. You're meant to just go, no, Kenny, you're usually articulate and serious.
Absolutely.
Says that while he's got a big bunch of flows behind him, you know.
Thank you, Alan. That's very, very generous of you. Thank you very much. Lyndon, yes, I got the login details tonight, so yes, I'm on time tonight. I hate being late normally, but I'm afraid I was drastically late on, was it Thursday? Or Wednesday, I think it was. It was terrible. So, yeah, but here we are, Friday night. It's as usual, quiet week for Rangers, isn't it, Kenny? We'll get the bad stuff out of the way first. Obviously, the ex-chairman came out and was trying to justify what happened and what he did and how he went about it. How did you receive that interview?
I need to really watch what I'm saying here since I'm related to the man. So,
are you?
No. Yes.
First question, and we've already started. There you go. That's what the night's going to be like. There you go.
And that one was for Ian and Wolf because they were ripping the piss right at me for buying that book. And so I just thought, I'll fire that one out first, see what he says. I know. Listen, so I don't mind about community if it was about where he came from, how he done it, how he bought Rangers, all that's fine. But see, trying to now throw folk under the bus, 20, 30 years down the line, 40 years down the line. Sad, I'll be honest with you, I bought the book because I love fiction, right? Love it. I'm a fiction novelist, but no, I just thought it was maybe going to be the ins and outs of how somebody becomes where he got to and how he bought Rangers and all that, and then it was all this about Lol threw us under the bus and all the rest. Tell us something else is new, Davey, come on. And I think it's put a bit of a sour note on everything that's been going well for the last 13 years of horror we've had, and then we had the Americans and we're buying players, selling players to buy players, and we were all starting to get a wee bit more excited. I think his timing is pretty crass. He could have brought that out midway through the season or something, maybe, guys, probably. Just maybe something different.
Yeah, I mean, is it a good read though, Kenny? I mean, more, everybody
I'm
judges.
I'm going on holiday next week.
Right.
I'm sitting next to the pool, so I hope I don't jump in. There's a cat behind your head.
Oh, I know.
I hope it's yours.
He's coming in the window. It's like, I want to come on the show.
I just
David Murray's novel. It's going to jump right after head first.
I just take all the strays from off the street. Alex,
don't talk about cats.
I mean, Alex, it is the timing is pretty poor considering we're kind of on a high now with all the takeover talk happened. We're looking forward. There's lots of numerous links getting linked to us. The timing is pretty poor, as Kenny says. Do you? Obviously, he's plugging his book, so that's why he's doing it. But yeah, timing wasn't great, was it?
It's an opportunity to stay relevant, though, isn't it? I mean, when the fact that, as you both said, the takeovers happened. We've obviously got the American owners in. We've been linked with players. We're obviously talking about like this talk about the kits and how they're coming on, players coming in, players coming out, big money, big fees for players, and it's just a way to stay relevant. Obviously he's wanting to get his name back in and doing obviously a sit down with you and Cameron having that, and then getting his book out and trying to throw people under the bus. Just wants his name to still be relevant, and obviously a lot of people aren't interested at this point now where we've gone, having the American owners in, so he's thinking I'm going to get my two-piece back in, but at the same time wait till I throw everybody else under the bus and say it wasn't my fault. Everybody else did wrong, bar me. And I just think that, as Kenny says, see if he did it before the takeover, or he does it during the season, like when we're playing well or we're having a good spell of the season. That's all right. See, doing it right before the season starts, when we've been linked with players and we're right at the start of a takeover. you know that there's sour grapes there, and he thinks, right, I'm just going to see how much more I can drag the name down. Because when you look at the fact that we're on a high right now, but he doesn't want the club to be, because look where we were. We've went through 13 years of absolute torture, and he thinks, right, we'll just pull them back down. And that's all that he's trying to achieve. And all the fans have seen that. We've spoken about it, and we've seen that we're not going to let it happen. We're on a high, and we just need to keep going up rather than being pulled back down.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, I wanted to get the bad news out of the way first, because I don't like to dwell on things like that, and I like to think positive and move forward, and I don't like looking back. But Kevin Wilson, thank you very much. £10 super chat, much appreciated, Kevin. Kenny, Dessers must stay. This is a polarizing topic, isn't it? I think he's 30, 31, is he?
No, 31 going on 32.
30, yeah. If we're getting an offer for a guy who, like, say, I think we paid 4.5 million. If we're getting anything, our money back on him, is that a deal that we should accept, in the sense that we're not going to get much better in the future for him?
Yeah. The stat is ringing in my ears, and I'm looking down at my mobile in case Ian Thompson starts texting me for the next sentence that I say. So, Tomo, I'm trying to choose my words very wisely here, mate. I know you're watching. I think it's about time to get the money for him, because we'll get the money to buy in. I think if Igamane goes and Davis goes and all the rest, I think you're going to end up with about 30 to 40 million worth of transfer money there, and I would imagine we'll be able to get some strikers in and things like that. It's time to move on. I think it's just that time. His age, it's just his age. I'd rather him kick about if Igamane and that went away, because you don't want to leave yourself short coming up to qualifiers, etc. That's the biggest one, is the Panathinaikos game and how fast that seems to be rolling in. I think this is going to go. I mean, somebody says, I'm going to read that one for Kevin Wilson about De Jong, right? De Jong, we were all talking about this in the WhatsApp page about the shifts you get out of him. De Jong's he's the guy that runs about. Freigan is the guy that runs about, does all the heavy grafting and the into the box and annoying defenders to free up the space for the likes of De Jong. So to answer the question, I would take the money for Dessers, take the money for Igamane, and start being a little more smart. I think because of the 13 years of non-trust, and we've not had the capabilities to do any of this, we're a little bit tentative as fans. When you've got the stats that Dessers has, folk are starting to really panic that we might not be able to replace that. I think that's where the trepidation creeps in. It certainly did for me, but then I grabbed myself and said, like you said to you, Brian, he's getting on a wee bit. So do we keep him until he can't do it and then say we should have sold him? You know, there's a double-edged sword to most of these conversations, isn't there? So for me, I would sell him, get the money, because I think we're going to get the money back we had a couple of years ago. So I'm happy enough to do that and move forward, just personally, to be fair.
Absolutely. And Ian, Kenny can keep speaking as long as he wants on this topic. I'm totally fine with this.
I knew he was thinking about there.
Totally fine with this. Alec, I mean, yeah, it is a difficult one, because obviously the guy has scored 50 goals in 2 seasons. You know, he's scored a lot of good goals, but I think a lot of people are in the boat, or in the sort of camp of we're getting more or similar to what we paid. He's over the age of 30. Is he going to be able to do what Russell Martin wants him to do? Is he going to be mobile enough? So it's a real conundrum, this one, isn't it? Because you're losing a lot of goals and assists with Dessers, so it's a difficult one for the manager and the sporting director to sort of juggle this one, isn't it?
100%. It's a massive one. It's a massive call to make, because if we lose, we've lost Czerny. He's away. We only had him on loan. If you lose Igamane and Dessers, that's what I think we said in the chat. That's 68 goals we'll have lost from last season. Bringing in these new boys, you might not recoup that in one season. You might take a few to get used to it. I'm in the camp that we should keep Dessers. I know he's 30-year-old. He'll be 31 this year, but he scores goals for us, and he does. He gets in the positions. His age is obviously going to be a massive factor, and I get that. Listen, if we've been offered 5 million for somebody like Dessers, we should be taking it. But we could take in this Turgeman, and he doesn't get the goals, and that could be the massive issue. You spend another 3-4 million euro £5 million on this guy, and he doesn't come in and he doesn't provide the goals that we're getting. De Jong is, I think he's 32. Is he going to be mobile enough to get the goals? Vardy, he's another one we're linked with. Some of the boys we're linked with right now are older than Dessers, and yet there's more highlight to get them in. People are more excited to get them in the door, but Dessers is 31 this year, and we're saying get him gone. I think that it's going to be a massive risk to say that we're losing 68 goals from 3 players and saying it's all right, sell them and take 30, 40 million and go spend on other players. They might never have played Scottish football. I know that we laugh about the way Scottish football plays sometimes. It's completely different to the way you see in a lot of European leagues. It's a lot more physical. Folk get snapped for fun. Injuries happen. If we sign 3 new boys and they get injured, we've got nobody to back up because you've lost Igamane, you've lost Dessers. Are we going to focus on a Danilo who's injured for 99% of the season, can play 4 games and then he's injured? It's a massive risk to take, but it's one that if the sporting directors and Russell want to make, then they're going to make it. Us as fans have to accept that. We go, okay, they've made that. The other guys with the plans, we're just here talking about what we want to happen, what we'd like to see happen, but they've obviously got a plan. They're not going to come in here and be blind to what's going on and think, right, we'll make it up on the fly. So they definitely will have a plan. They want to go forward. It's whether or not they can execute it quick enough, because we can't go another season. You boys will agree, but we can't go another season without winning any trophies. I'm not saying Dessers is going to be the man to win us a trophy because he's been here for 2 seasons, and the amount of chances he misses, he gets a lot of flack. But are we going to bring in new boys that are going to do it?
Well, this is it. And Chris makes the point of, De Jong and Turgeman in and Dessers and Igamane out, 15 to 20 million banked. Now, Kenny, that's all very well saying, 10 to 15 million banked, but as Alex has just said, between Dessers and Igamane, that's a lot of goals and a lot of assists out of the team. There's no, as Alex is perfectly correct in saying, there's no saying that De Jong and Turgeman, if they do come, are going to get those numbers. So it is a gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll jump in with the point though. We never knew Igamane could do that till he showed us he could. There was just a potential he could do it. So you're going to hire somebody else that will do that as well. That's down to the scouts, right? The guy came from the middle of nowhere. So saying that these guys will come in and maybe not do it, you're right. But I think what we're going to try and build now is goals from other areas in the park. You're right, we got those goals from the forward line. Wingers, no. Centred midfield, no. Corners, no. So we've got to start building an actual team that scores goals. I think that's where we're talking exactly like Leeds United spoke about when they sold Crescencio, Somerville, Rutter. 4 or 5 of the top players they get rid of straight away. And the fans were doing what we're all doing. Oh, we can't get rid of him. Jesus Christ, we'll just get rid of Somerville. My God, what are we going to do? We're going to have to claw the walls. We're doing the same process. They won the league. Right? They brought 6 players in for the price of the 4 they sold. Then they bought another 2 in the January because they seen they were in a title fight, and they won the league. So I think the process has got to be sit back and maybe give a little bit more faith to what the process is. I think the Dessers thing's good business. I think the Igamane thing's good business. I think the Diamandi thing possibly could be good business because they will go and spend the money back straight into the club. I think we're used to selling players and thinking, who the hell are you going to put in here? But they found the Moroccan from nowhere and he showed that he had that. So we're needing to give them a wee bit more faith that if they get rid of Dessers, they will unleash another gem or 2 and maybe somebody like, I'm not saying it's De Jong or Vardy, I'm just meaning somebody who's proven, so that you've got that in amongst the ones that are learning. You've got to remember your Diamandis and all that. They all come in here, Igamane's even, let's face it, and Hefty, they came here to learn. But unfortunately, because of the diddies that were running our club, they get through into first teams because we had no money to buy nobody else then, or any kind of long-term players they could have learned from in the positions it was going in. So I think we've got to have a lot more faith of what they did at Leeds. Look across what they did. Yes, they did get rid of these big numbers. Crescencio was scoring goals for fun, but he was worth a fortune. Router's the same, and I think there's another 2. Ian will tell me, or one of the boys usually will tell me who they were. There's about 4 of them. We're in the same boat right now. They're starting to nitpick the best players. I think the only one I might say would stay would be Raskin, unless it's 25 million and then or 20 million, and I think he's a goner. But we've got the money to reinvest, and it's now down to the scouting network and who they find to bring in. And only time will tell if it's going to be a title fight or not. And you've got to remember, I know it sounds really stupid, but it's only really Rangers against Celtic, right? It really is. Financially, it's always been the same for years upon years upon years. So why not just go for the title straight away? Why not get rid of 3 or 4 players that give you massive money and go and spend it on maybe 6 players for 4 out or whatever else? So I do believe that we're in the right path, and I'm only looking over at Leeds and saying we're reacting the same way they did because it's our best players with the best numbers, but they are worth the most money to reinvest.
Yeah, I mean, Al, is it a case of us? We just need to calm down and trust the process. Is Kenny's saying, these guys have proven what they've proven at Leeds that they took a gamble in selling all a good chunk of their good players for big money. I'm not saying it's going to happen at Rangers, but all sort of roads point that way. So we as fans just got to calm down, trust the process, and put our faith in these guys that have got it right at Leeds.
I would do. I know the way I'm talking about Dessers. I just want him to stay. I'm sorry. I just think we've got to be we've got to just watch what we do. We have to trust the process, because too many times we get caught up in, let's just get them all gone. Let's get the board gone. They don't know what they're doing, but then we don't win a title. So the guys are just in the door. We've made 2 signings. Lyle Cameron was a pre-contract, and we've got Max Aarons. We've seen no other players sign at the club yet, and we're saying, get them gone. Don't sign these players, keep them on. Well, we didn't win anything with them. That's one. But you've got to also say we're a bit of victims of our own success. We had a good European campaign, and that's when these boys got noticed. Obviously, Dessers scored goals in the league and in Europe, and that's where he got noticed. Igamane showed some of the bigger teams that the way he played against Man United, the way he played against Tottenham. He played silly games against these teams. That's what's got him noticed. Diamandi's had a good couple of seasons, and Raskin's obviously just come out of nowhere. He was really, really poor and then just got in his game, got in the Belgian team, and he's getting noticed. So they will go for money, but I do agree with what you're saying, Kenny, the fact that if we've got these players and they're worth something now, we need cash in, because look what happened with the likes of Barisic, look what happened with Lundstrom, look what happened with Kent, Morelos. We didn't sell them when they were worth something, then they went for nothing. And this is what's got in this position now, where we need to sell players to buy. If we're selling these players for good money, though, and we can, as you're saying, if we sell 2 players for got to 40 million, and then we're getting money back in, we're able to let them reinvest, and we say, well, we've got money in the bank for January, rather than saying, well, we've actually got nothing and we can't buy any players in, then we're relying too much on loans. I get Max Aarons is a loan, but he's a quality player that's going to play all season for us and actually shore up a side that has been struggling all season. That right-hand side does get punished because Tav is starting to decline a bit and there was nobody to come in. So there's a bit about trust in the process. We just need to see through the summer. The only concern is that there's not a lot of business done, and as Kenny says, Panathinaikos is only around the corner. We've got that tie, and we need to see these boys coming in, because we don't want what we've seen with Michael Beale, with Clement, and a bit with Barry. These boys need time to learn. Need time to learn. We need them in now. They need to get in and in the team now. They can't be sitting on the bench for 6-7 weeks gone. They need to learn the language. They need to learn the team. They need to be able to just play, get in and play. That's what they're going to be bought for, especially if they've been bought for 3-4 million. They can't be just, I'll need to wait. Let them develop in with the training pitch and then get in. If they're coming in for that price, they should be ready to play.
Absolutely. I've said that for a long time. If you spend 2-3 million on a player, they should be straight in the first team, no messing, and be battle ready to go into league games 100%. Kevin, in our super chat, thank you very much, much appreciated. Kenny, you're talking about age. De Jong and Vardy are older than Dessers, so keeping Dessers is common sense. I mean, De Jong's, 33, 34? Vardy's 38, I believe. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Vardy is a freak, isn't he? He's one of these guys that's, I mean, certainly in his pomp, I don't think there was many quicker in the league. And I think, obviously, when Leicester did win the league, I think Vardy certainly put the Frighteners up a lot of defenders because they didn't know how to handle him, Kenny. He was, he was so rapid, the ball over the top, and there was only one winner. He was getting to the ball. The centre half certainly weren't. De Jong obviously works very hard. He's good in the air. But are these guys, I mean, for me, I still think both of these guys are long shots. De Jong was on over 40,000 a week at PSV. Vardy certainly over 6 figures a week at Leicester. I just don't think these guys are realistic at coming to Rangers, are they?
It's a kind of similar circumstance with your Eriksson, isn't it? We're going to get branded with these players now because we literally would have some sort of money to be able to afford their wages if it's a loan deal or whatever, or a free agent where you can negotiate things and stuff like that with sponsorship deals and other ways to make their wages up. I think De Jong or Vardy would score loads of goals in Scotland, perfectly honestly. And watched him last season and he was still one of the top goal scorers in the league and things like that. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but I'm always for the scouting network trying to find these gems like Igamane rather than going for older players and maybe giving them a bit of a chance and you get a bit more money for them, longevity, etc. See these deals with Maxi Aaron for a year and things like that. That tells me they're trying to go instantly for the league. Why would you put somebody for 1 year when you're trying to talk about long-term game? I think the Americans are very, very clever in their vocabulary. I think that they're trying to say, of course, they're going to look for a trajectory that's going to be long-term. I think they're going for the jugular right now. I think they're going for the league, especially with the loan deals and getting the bigger talents in and maybe better calibre, and they're on like a year's loan deal. So I don't think that the De Jong and all that getting linked to us is because that's the answer to our long-term prayers, guys. Yeah. It's I think he's thinking if we can get some youth run about them, some quality run about them, and these very, very big dressing room players that know what winning is and experience run about the kind of maybe learned players that can score goals, that can do these things. I think that's where they're thinking. I think they're thinking mix a bit of youth with a bit of class with something else like that and trying to, get... it's not their first rodeo. I mean, they've done it with American football for years. There'll be the similar scenario what we were talking about with American football players in the positions and, you're getting Brady's in and all that at like 40-odd-year-old and things like that. He's never going to do 100 and then the next minute he becomes the best league point winner for whatever club it was and he was like 45 or whatever the hell his age was. So I think we've got to be very careful of who we're turning around and saying, I can't believe we're talking about De Jong as a man. I can't believe we're not selling Dessers. The blueprint's been set out. If the guy's worth money and he's older, he's getting sold, we'll bring in a couple of youth players or the scouting network will do what they do. If the guy is worth money and he's young, Diamandi's, Igamane's, he's getting sold. And then we're going to try and find the next Igamane, the next Dessers, the next... And that's the way it should have been for us for years. We've just been used to pish for 13 years. Boardroom decisions, absolute guff. We need to cling on to the best players. Jesus Christ, don't let him go, man. Who are we going to get? The tea lady to play in the right wing? Mm-hmm. We've had this panic for a long time. I'll say it again, just trust the process. I don't think they'll get it far wrong. I really don't.
See if they'll go for the jugular, though. I think there's something in it, looking at De Jong and Vardy to get them in for that one season. See, rather than getting them in for the whole, like for 3-4 year deal, which isn't going to happen. See if you get them one season, absolutely scud the league and go, right, cheers for your service. You've now got a trophy behind you. We need to move on to youth, but thanks for that year's campaign. That's probably what they're looking at. And I agree with you in that respect, Kenny. If you're going 1 year all out, get it done and then move on. You can't be getting them on unbelievable contract.
Seen that? The tea lady, some players she's surrounded with cups. Hey,
there has to be something in it that if they're getting these, if they're linked with these kind of players, then it's only for a season. But Vardy's going to be on, as you're saying, mad wage. He is a free agent now with Leicester, but he's not going to come in and want pennies. He's still going to want a good amount of money for coming to the club. But my issue is if you're getting somebody like Vardy, are you going to get him in week out? Is he going to be fit enough to play every week? And then is that taking away a position from somebody of youth who you want to then get him around because he's going to want to play week in, week out? Exact same with De Jong. The amount of games they played for both Leicester and PSV, they played every game. So you're not really going to get a bit of youth or a bit of quality come through because look at the way that we played with Bailey Rice all season. Hardly got a game. And that's because the three in front of him were actually playing pretty well that he didn't get in. But then it's like if you get Vardy coming in and he hits the ground running, goal after goal, you're never going to get somebody to take him at that team unless he gets injured.
Yeah. A few super chats to get through, guys, so just bear with me. Airwolf, thank you very much. £5 super chat. Clinging on to players has cost us millions in the past. Morelos free, Kent free. When are we going to learn? I mean, Kenny, this is absolute nail on the head stuff for me. We've had good bids for players in the past, and we've decided to keep them for nostalgic reasons and the love of the player. and it's cost us big time, isn't it?
And that's where I'm, the point. That's what took away my wee smile, because that's what I'm trying to allure to, is that what are we talking about here? Dessers, we're going to wait until he's no hitting the numbers, and then we're going to come out with the sentences of Clement come in, and the only good sentence he said was, "What the hell are we playing it with these contracts?" I think that was the only good thing he ever said. He should have just left once he said that. But that's the wife using the phone. That's you. You're out.
Yellow card.
That's you, man. You're like, I see. If that was Martin, he'd have gave you a red just to so
that's what the flowers are for me. Oh, sorry, Henry. You go. There's your flowers.
The hoose's fault with them, Alex, man. I made that many mistakes. So I totally agree with you, Brian. I think that's why I got so serious on it, because we've got to enjoy the blueprint of but real businessmen starting to make real decisions, and sometimes, not all the time, right? Because we're all Rangers fans. It's nice for them to say, "I love your points, Rangers fans, but I don't really give a shit," because this is the best thing for the club. Totally best thing for the club is to get them worth a lot of money and sell them, and we get 100% profit, and we stick 60% into the club, and then we have a wee 40% retainer, and blah blah blah, and that's how we should be moving forward. And I think we're just no used to it, boys. That's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And Doreen, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. Appreciated. Alex, every change is a gamble. Hopefully our choices will be the right ones for a change. That's absolutely true as well. I mean, every change, every player signing, every player leaving, staff coming in, coming out, everything's a gamble. As Kenny has just said, previous, we've got to trust the process. We've got these guys. It's not as though these guys are coming in to own Rangers and haven't done this before. These guys have got a past record of getting things right. Although, as Kenny said, they came in and they sold 3 or 4 of their best players for big money, and the Leeds fans were up in arms because they couldn't believe what they were doing. But then you look now, they're promoted to the Premier League, so they got it right. So, every change is a gamble, but we've just got to hope that everything that you're not going to get every signing correct, but you hope the vast majority are correct.
We've just got to get it right for a change. That's been our biggest issue for a long time. You look at some of the players we've signed, we're obviously going to get it right with Igamane with the fee that he's commanding, Raskin the fee he's commanding, Diamande as well. But then you look at Cortez, you look at Danilo, the fees that we paid for them. We're never going to recoup that kind of money off of those kind of guys. But I think they're playing it smart with some of the players. Like, we could have paid a fee for Max Aarons, but we've got him on a loan. He's obviously not had the greatest time with Bournemouth with injuries. He went to Valencia, didn't get much game time. He's going to come here and he's going to be a starter for the club. But we need to get it right. But that's what they're doing, as you boys pointed out. They did sell some of their massive players. These were the guys with the personality. These are the guys that scoring goals at Leeds, knew what they were doing, and they thought, right, we're going to sell them on. I mean, some of it went for a huge fee to West Ham. It didn't work out with West Ham, but they were able to just get players that suited the system, what they wanted to play, got the right manager in. And you hope that they've done that with Russell Martin. They've got the right man in. They trust the system. He trusts them. Going to get the right players in, and we just need to make sure this gamble pays off. Because if it doesn't, we're going to be sitting here in a year's time going, "What happened again? Like, what happened with these players?" So it needs to be right, because for too long we've been sitting here going, "It's dreadful." 13 years we've been sitting here going, "Right, how do we change this now? Who do we change now?" Are we going to be sitting here in a year's time going, "Right, we need to get Russell Martin out the door"? Nobody wants that. We just want to be going, look how that panned out. Nobody trusted the system. We didn't think it would work. All of a sudden, we've won the league, and it's actually went a lot better. So we just need to trust the process. It will take time. We know Russell Martin's not going to. He's not said, "I'm coming in here and winning a treble." He says, "I'm here to win, but it's going to take time," and that's what it is. Take it a game at a time. Don't put targets on it like Clement did. Like, you'll see this team improve by October. See, when that's the case, then you expect the expectation there is that it'll improve in a few weeks. We just need to wait and see that this is going to work. There's a comment I just seen it like, "Oh, we're not going to talk about all the crap that needs sold." You can't sell a full squad. You can't sell every player. No. We're going to sell the players that are worth money and then try and get the other players working. Russell Martin's been training. Look at all the photos. I mean, it's all over your Twitter. Look at the training videos. He's got players out there actually training their arse off. Look at like Danilo. You can see he's like proper training. That's what you want to see. see if we can get these players playing in a system that works, then why not? Why not keep them, right? They might not have been good last season, but they might not have the right coach. They might not have the right manager. It's all about getting a manager that works for these players, getting a system that's right, and see if it doesn't, then he's going to change it. He's got background staff that will help him change it, but it's about giving the man a chance and actually saying, these players might not have been good enough. Like, look at Dill. Dill might come back a different man. I hope he goes, right? Because he obviously wasn't good in his year last season. But we need to trust the process, trust the system, give it time. Kenny's 100% right when he says give it time. See if we don't, what's the point? Then you're sitting here.
Can I jump in with Alex there and back him up with that? Because what I think the comment he's saying there about the guy keeps saying about selling the crap, like what Alex is meaning is if you do sell the better players and you get a retainer, like a lot of money for it, you can buy the 3 players, but it still leaves you a chunk of money to then allow those players to go a lot less, so the club don't feel the pinch. So we are trying to get rid of the crap. We are. But you can't just go off and then the next minute you put the club in a bad position. You sell the better players, you buy, say you sell 1, you buy 3 in, but you've got maybe another good million or 2 behind. Then you've got rid of that other player's wages, sell that crap player on or whatever, and you're not feeling it financially as a business. And I think that's what he's alluding to, that's what he's meaning. And we've got to remember that. I completely got that, Alex, man. I thought that was a great piece on a pod there, because it was exactly what we should be doing. And just trust the process.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, Charles. Super chat. Ask Gigantor to stand up and have a scout. Alex, get up and have a look. You're the man for a scout.
They're over there. The players are over there. We need to go get them, right? Come on, let's go. Let's go to the middle of nowhere. Sorry, Morocco. Let's go find those players, right?
Absolutely. And Gaz, thank you very much for your $4.99 super chat. Much appreciated again. Totally agree. I think this board are going all out attack. I hope so. Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice, Kenny, that we've went for a loan without this obligation to buy or mandatory fee to buy. I think we've clearly had our fingers burned several times with this mandatory buy fee or future fee guaranteed. So it's nice that it's a straight loan. I'm not too disappointed there's not a option to buy, or I think, as you said, is signing Aaron's how could you put it? Is it putting a sticky plaster on a situation where they're having this guy in for a year with the sort of vision of next season we'll get somebody in proper for that position, but Aaron's will do the job for this season.
Very clever piece of business, guys, because it gives you then a very nice piece of time to really find somebody at your own pace that will be a long-term fill for that position, if that makes sense to you. So you're going to bring somebody in that's absolutely class. Well, we've saw in the past. We'll wait and see what he is for Rangers, but he should be. But then, because we know we're not going to buy him, you've got now a season to start looking for the preferred right back to take over for the captain and even Max Arms. And listen, you don't even know what happens in a year. We could end up with American sponsorships. You just don't know what kind of money you might end up and you might be able to afford the Max Arms. You just don't know. We don't know because we've never been here before.
Ian, I was reliably told by his sniper the other day that Aaron's is how you pronounce his name. So I am going with sniper. So he was very vociferous in his telling me how.
There, Brian, definitely.
Yeah.
Max Aaron.
No, I've been told it isn't Aaron's, it's Aaron's. So sniper will back me up. I don't know. So
they're comparing you with wee Gilly now, look, with the mispronunciations.
Come away. I mean, that's terrible, isn't it? Terrible chat.
Bad.
And another super chat is just coming from Jaxie's Vlogs. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Going back to this board, Alex. This is a board that aren't emotionally attached to the club. This is a board that aren't supporters. These guys are coming in to make a difference to this club. They're wanting to obviously make a little bit of money along the way. But these guys are going to make business decisions. They're not going to make emotional decisions about keeping players or signing players for the sake of it. These guys are going to make business decisions, And I think a lot of people in the fan base have been, desperate for something like this to take emotion out of the business, because it's very easy to get caught up in a business when you're emotionally attached. But when you're not emotionally attached and you're the custodians of the club, as Wolf likes to put it, it's you're for me, you'll make better decisions going forward then, won't you?
These guys want to make their money back. They want to obviously see a return on their investment, and they're coming in here knowing that they're just giving the money away. Right, there you go. There's an investment from us. Spend it how you want, and we're not going to make any money back. They're making it a business decision to make money. They know that the club is as big as it is, and they've obviously got no emotional attachment to it, but they want to see us succeed, and that's what they're going to want. They want the club to succeed. They want us to get back to a place where we should be, but they definitely want to see a return on the money. They're not just going to go buy players because the fans are screaming, we need to buy this player, we need to buy this player. See, if they don't see the value in that player, they're not going to buy them. If they don't see the value in managers and sponsorships and anything like that, they're not going to spend the money. They obviously want to see a return, and I think the fact that they've chose Rangers, they've put the money in, they've actually given us a budget to go and sign players. It shows that they've got intent. See, if they don't, they wouldn't be here. They obviously want to. The way they've spoke to the fans, and actually, when you listen to them, they're real savvy about the way they talk, but they're mixing no words. They want to see the club succeed, and if that means putting some money into it, it's what's going to happen. But you just think that they're not here to lose their investment at all. But I don't think they're not going to be here for a year. Jesus Christ, they're not going to be here for. They're not going to be here for a year and then pull the money away. They go to somebody else. They want to see us succeed, and they want us to not just be like in the Europa League competing. They want the club to get the exposure of the Champions League, because that gives them exposure as the owners. If they're the ones that are in the owner's box and they're in the stadium, they're getting exposure. That's how they get more business. That's how they get more eyes on them. So they're definitely here to put money in the club, but they want to make a profit.
Go along with that, Kenny?
Aye, that's why the player model is going to be the thing that keeps a attainable flow of transfers without them having to pump loads of money in all the time. So it's, listen, these guys are running billion-dollar industry businesses. They're out with the football. They own multi-businesses that they've broken down and shared off and rebuilt them up and all the rest of it. So I would say that's bang on. What they're basically trying to do is make it retainable so that they need to invest little but take out a lot, and we still don't feel the pinch. And I think this is going to be a very exciting time. I just think season 2 will tell you exactly how big Rangers is going to end up if the model works, because you've only really got a few clubs in Scotland, let's say 2, that's going to be going for European football, the Champions League stuff in qualification. So if they can get, I always go back to that Angie Machkashkala over in Russia, who came from nowhere, get money pumped in within a couple of years. They were mainstays in Europe, especially with Shakhtar Donetsk as well. Again, a club that came from nowhere, they're mainstay in European football. You could probably say, who was it? Remember the club that Graham Potter first managed over in Norway?
Oh, Osterlands. Was it Osterlands?
Aye, so they were starting to get into Europe quite a lot as well. So I think Rangers could be one of those industry clubs where they can continue to use a player model that funds the team, which allows other money like sponsorships to free up a lot of other things that we could end up being regulars in Europe. So I think we've just got to relax and go with the flow.
These are poor, by the way. These comments are poor. I'm sitting reading all these. These are poor, by the way. I am getting ripped to shreds again here. And Brian's sitting the opposite. These are poor, by the way. These are shocking.
Desperately trying not to laugh, but multiple bands, 100% correct. I'm absolutely desperate to not look at the comments now. I'm trying my level best. It's difficult, but yeah. Going on a link that's been linked for a wee while, Alex, Connor Cody, a bit of experience, played for England, been in the Premier League a good while now with Wolves and Everton. Is that the sort of experience that you think that can come in and make a difference to Rangers?
100%. He's a leader in Connor Cody, and I think he's not the youngest. I think he's 32 as well. He will want a fair wage, but look how much we've not had a centre back that commands the back line. The man that could do it is just left us and joined Connor Goldson and Leon Balogun. he was a man that absolutely commanded that back line. You knew what you were getting from Leon Balogun. Now, he couldn't play every game. Let's not beat around the bush. He couldn't play every game with his age, but Connor Cody will bring that experience. He's not got youth, but he's a man to learn from. See, when we're looking at the likes of Nsiala and we're saying he needs to learn, there's the man he learns from. Connor Cody will do it. And same with John Souttar, because John Souttar wasn't the most reliable last season. He did have a few shaky performances, and some of his clearances weren't the best. I think if you're learning enough of Connor Cody, he's definitely the man. The only thing I would say, he didn't play a lot of games last season for Leicester. He was injured a fair bit. So is that a man that we're then going to bring out again when you think, is his injury record going to be worse in Scotland when the tackles are a lot harder, they're a lot more common, and then we're asking him to play in Russell Martin's system where he likes to play up from the back and he likes ball playing defenders? I don't know if Connor Cody's that man, but Russell Martin's obviously watched him managing in England, and he's watched him when he was in the Championship. I just wonder, is he going to be Mr. Reliable? Do we need to be looking at a bit of youth? Because if we're not going to make any money if we get Connor Cody in. Mm-hmm. So are we getting him just to win trophies? Is that what he's going to be here for? Win a couple of trophies, say thanks for your service, and off you go. Because we're not going to recoup any money on him.
No, we're not. And Snipe was perfectly correct, folks. If Martin would be going absolutely off his head by this point, I was going to say something else, but I thought better not. 61 likes. Let's get to 100, folks. We're nearly at the end of the pod, so come on, let's get that likes up, please. Yeah, Kenny, I mean, I dare say you've watched Cody quite a lot. He's been in the EPL for a while. There's people speaking of him being sort of captain material, a leader at the back. Although Alex has said that he was injured a little bit last season. Is he somebody, for example, that Nsalia, Souttar can, get something, he can help those guys along?
Yeah, age determines when injuries start to creep, and we were very blessed to have a Davy Weir who ended up the mechanical man. You're not going to get that a lot, so I've only got a little bit of trepidation on Cody's age, and as Alex correctly said, the injuries that he had at the end of his spell in the Premier League with Leicester and that. So I'm honestly a bit, I'm not worried, but I'm a bit like the Scottish game's rough, like Alex said as well. I'm not so sure with his age. I'm hoping that he becomes a Davy Weir scenario in the Cameron influence, because make no mistake about it, he's definitely got the mentality and all the rest of it. I'm just hoping the body works up to the mentality and we get a bit of a gem for a wee season or so, and that would be fine. Soapy's been ropey. We've not really had a seasoned or a stable back four for many a year, so it's very hard to judge Big Soapy too much, because there's clangers everywhere. Even at some points when he was playing the ball forward to the side, he wasn't even trusting where he was putting it. Same as Butland. There was some places you're thinking, will I put it there? Then second guessing, and if you second guess at elite football, you're going to get caught, and it looks terrible on the TV. Do you know what I mean? Or live. So for me, the only worry I've got with Cody is A, his age, B, the speed of the Scottish game, and as you said, Alex, correctly, the crunching tackles. I mean, Scotland, they don't give a toss what your name is, they're right through you, and I'm hoping that it's a longevity. I like the fact we're still chasing centre-backs. I know we're getting linked clickbait ridiculously with half of Europe and England, but at least if that's true, that the positions where we're going for is still centre-back and at the back line, I'm happy enough, because we really need cover in there as well. You can't just say, well, like Connor Cody and that will do. You've got to start getting some, a big squad for the back line, because that was the one that killed us, because as soon as we get injuries, as Rangers fans, we know the injuries have done us out of. How many titles is injuries done us out of at Christmas time and beyond? So, yes, happy with Cody because of mentality. He's a warrior. He's an old school defender, as a lot of the comments are saying. It's just that Scottish game and injury and age is the only thing. So I'd like to see another couple of centre-backs linked, just in case the inevitable happens.
Absolutely. And Alex, it's nice that we're, although Aarons has come in, we've got Cody possibly coming in. Is it nice that the manager the head coach is now identifying the sort of the defence as the first port of call? Because for me, I've always said that the front line's not been our issue. Scoring goals hasn't been our issue. It's been leaking at the back. and I think it's quite nice that we're getting linked with defenders, because that for me is, there was how many games last season where we, what's his Ridvan and Yefti were both out injured. So both fullbacks were out. So we need reliable defenders playing week in, week out, don't we?
It was our biggest worry. It honestly was our biggest worry. The fact that we then had to go to like the back three just because we were struggling with defenders, and you're putting Bailey Rice in there, we're putting players in that Tav was going in at centre back just to fill up that quota. It was probably the hardest thing we had. So it is a bit of fresh air that we're saying, yes, we need attackers, yes, we need midfielders if we're going to lose certain players, but our defence is our main priority right now, because if we're getting Cody in, we're getting Max Aarons in, we're getting other players in that are going to do a job, then we can actually start to relax a bit. Because how many times do we sit here and go, we're going to concede first? Regardless if we win the game or not, we know we're going to concede first. I think back to the Dundee game and the Kelly game where we looked like we were in good form, we were playing good football, especially in Europe, and then all of a sudden we're 2-0 down. So you think, how are we getting in a position where it's silly goals, it's scrappy goals? See, if you're getting somebody like Connor Cody in, he's unbelievably smart. He's a very switched on defender, and he knows his game. I just think that we're going to have to focus on defenders. So look at this smile. He's trying his hardest to look at him. He's going to have to just worry about how we can get these players in, and I don't know if we're going to have enough, because if you think if we're losing Davies, we're losing Proper. We've obviously already lost Balogun. Sterling's still injured. Who have we actually got? If Yilmaz is still injured, so you've got fit defenders. We've only really got Insiala, Suter, Tav and Jefty. Really, right now, there's not really any other defenders, and Ben Davies as well. So we need defenders in the door, and we need them in now, because as we've been saying in the chat, Panathinaikos is only around the corner. If you've not got a defence in, we are in some serious bother.
I would argue Suter isn't fit because he's away getting his hernia done, or whatever it is. So he's not even fit just now. So that's a problem. I think the defence gets confidence from the goalkeeper, and Butland doesn't give you confidence. Do you think, Kenny, that the goalkeeping situation is going to change, or do you think that Russell Martin is going to try and get a tune out of these goalkeepers?
He's going to try and get a tune. There's not been a lot of activity on the goalkeepers. I know what the comment's saying there, right? I get it. But I also remember a few games in Europe and against the Old Firm as well, where when our midfield and wingers and attackers done their job properly, our defence had hardly anything to do. So it all breeds confidence from every individual player. When I watch a lot of it because I coach the Waynes and stuff like that. And when you start to see everybody doing their job right, your defence is so relaxed and calm, including your keeper, that they start to play in a kind of sync. And basically, that's where we're losing. I mean, we all agree that we lost all the points against other clubs. We didn't lose it against Celtic a few times. So it's the mistakes of individual errors coming from the defenders, and the goalkeepers look poor because the ball's down at them. But the ball shouldn't be down at them. There should be a buffer in between all the positions in the park. So, yes, I think he's going to go for a tune out of Butland and Kelly and give them their chance. Build a squad where it should be flowing football and passing quick and moving and seeing if every position can do what they can do the best. And the defence hasn't got a hell of a lot of pressure constantly. If you're doing, say we got to Christmas, right, and we were maybe even undefeated or whatever, you'll see a different Jack Butland and Kelly then, in defence-wise, because everybody's starting to trust each other, and you're no second-guessing passes and kick-outs and throw-outs, and you're not really quite trusting where the ball's going, and even though it's maybe the only pass you've got to make, it's not the player you would like to have in that position to maybe calm down and move. So I'm just waiting to see what team we build first, but I do think they're going to give Butland and Kelly the reins. I think that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it does look like that. Aaron League, what's happened with Beck and Fraser? Well, I believe Fraser was in the training video. He was certainly in pre-season, Robbie Fraser. Owen Beck, Alec, another one that you probably would have seen a lot of at Dundee. He did well there on loan. I believe we tried to get him on loan or tried to purchase him then, but he went somewhere else. I can't remember where he went. So we thought, well, maybe that ship had sailed, but looks as though it's maybe coming back.
I mean, somebody like Owen Beck, if we're looking at him, then we need to get a left back out the door, don't we? Because you don't exactly want to have Yilmaz, Jeffy, and Beck all at the club, all fighting for that spot, because you're going to have one that's unhappy, that getting no game time at all. It's the same when you've got like that third goalkeeping choice. They're not going to get a chance to get in. So I think that if we're getting in Owen Beck, it'd be a great player to get in. He did have a great season at Dundee. I just think that I think Russell Martin's probably going to try and get a tune out of Jeffy. I think Yilmaz's head's been turned. I think he wants to go back to Turkey, but I think he wants to get a tune out of Jeffy because there's a player there. We've seen it. He's very, very poor. Sometimes when it comes to defending, he doesn't track his man. He loses his man. He gets bullied too quickly. But there's definitely a player in Jeffy. We've seen it. We've seen when he goes forward, the way he can take on players. I just think that Yilmaz has to go. And no disrespect to Yilmaz, I think he's a good wee defender. He's just too injury prone, and he's not the backup we need. You know, if Jeffy's on a yellow, you can't take him off because Yilmaz isn't even on the bench. So you need that cover. You need the rapport. So having that player there, and I think Yilmaz is probably the man to go. And I would say if Owen Beck's coming in, is a player we need to buy because he's still young. We need to buy him. There can't be another loan deal because Liverpool know they've got a man on their hands with Owen Beck, but we can't just be going loan. We need to get some players in.
Absolutely. But it's going to be interesting times, folks. It's going to be days, weeks of links. We're going to be, as Kenny said earlier, we're getting linked to every man under the sun across Europe or across the world. So it's going to be
that's happening though, because for too long we've been linked with nobody. Nobody wants to come to the club. Nobody wants to come because we were a sinking ship and nobody wanted to come near us. See the fact we've got investment, we're actually looking like we're going somewhere. It's about time players actually want to come to the club, and it's no because they're coming here to retire. They want to actually make a name for themselves. That's what you want to see.
It's also fair to say, right? It's also fair to say, guys, that when the players we bought, your Yilmaz, your Igamans, and all these players, right, Diamandis, etc., they're coming to Rangers as an evolution of where they play to better their career, and walked into a club with a board and possibly even training methods that were maybe on par with or worse than the clubs they came from. So they learnt fuck all. So I think it'd be nice if you bring players in and there's fresh and they are learning and they are developing. I don't think we've had that for a long time, hence why we're getting mediocre, as we think, mediocre players from clubs when maybe they're not. They're just no walking into the Rangers squad that we remember, the 9-in-a-rows and things like that had very good training sessions, who had individual talents of man management, who could get the best out of players and bring these players who come over from other clubs and make them into the players we or the scouting network saw. I think that's going to be the most exciting thing. Hopefully we've got that now where we can start bringing players in to learn rather than saying, well, we've not really much for you today here. This is a training session we do. Here's the first team. And they're like, what? I was coming here to learn off of Yilmaz, and Yilmaz is like, I come in here to learn, but now I'm suddenly the one you have to learn off of, and I've learned nothing myself. And I think that's a catalyst through every position where we bought players. You're going to get your lucky ones like Igamane, who's just naturally gifted. But the majority of the people are coming to Rangers because it's Rangers, and they're waiting for an elevation of training, learning, possibly looking at players that's been there for 4 or 5 years. Again, I'm going to scream it that Arfield should have stayed another year. People to learn off of. And we haven't got any of that. So I'm excited more about that when we buy a player in, there may be a manager or a coaching staff that shows them things that is at an elevated level. Say what you want about Russell Martin, but it's still you're training to play in the Premier League and stuff like that, or the Championship, which is good enough. So I don't think the Clemonts showed them anything new. I don't think they get paired with any, not legends, but people that's been at the club a hell of a long time. So I think that's where we fell apart. There was no, as Ian Thompson always said, no identity. We had no identity, but we're still buying players in and they're going, is this the Rangers I remember? Is this the ones that came to... Because I don't see it different, and possibly going, the training sessions were better where I came from, and it would fall apart, wouldn't it? It would fall apart.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you said, Kenny, there's nobody at the club that's been there, apart from, you could argue, the captain, Tavernier. he's the only one that's been there for a length of time where, people could sort of look to him and say, right, what's the club about? And, that's, for me, that's not this. You're wanting somebody that's Scottish in there that gets, that's been there a long time, that's been in and about the club for a decent few years, that get, the other players that are coming in can go to him and say, right, what do I need to know about the club? What do I need to know about this? And I think that's, as you're saying, the identity hasn't been there for a good number of years. And hopefully, you like to think the sort of Raskins, the Diamandis, could become that, because Raskins certainly for me is the guy that looks to get Rangers, as in he's a young lad that came in, high sort of profile, lots of potential, but he's one of the few that's risen to the challenge and decided, right, I'm gonna take this midfield and I'm gonna make it mine. And I don't care what anybody says, he vastly improved when Barry Ferguson became the interim manager. He was a completely different player once he came, because I think Barry's seen a little bit of him in Raskin, I think it's fair to say. Mm-hmm. So it's almost a case of, and yeah, Shona's absolutely spot on. Since Jimmy Bell left, the identity's all gone and it's on Tav. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's an absolutely valid point. There's nobody there that's been a cog, a cog in the wheel at Ibrox for a good number of years, and that's what we've been screaming out for. But hopefully those days are returning. Folks, it's been entertaining in the chat. Thank you very much. I've been absolutely trying not to burst out laughing. I don't know how many times. I think I've been smirking away most of it. It's been a good hoot, but thank you all for your super chats, especially. Much appreciated from everyone. Like, share, and subscribe on all the socials, guys. I believe we're on Kick now as well. So, Kick. I've no idea what Kick is. I think me and Kenny are too old for Kick. It's a.
That's why I looked away.
It's a young person's game, that. So I'm not getting involved, but I believe we're on that as well. So, like us on all the socials. Alex, thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Kenny, all the comments as well.
We're getting the Doug appearance now. We've had the cat, we're getting the dog. Kenny, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it. Good day.
Absolutely. And folks, enjoy your weekend, whatever you get up to. Stay safe, and we'll speak very, very soon.